It was just after 8 p.m. when Marcus stepped out onto the quiet suburban streets of his neighborhood, a hoodie pulled tight around his head, earbuds in place, blocking out the world. The crisp air bit at his skin, but the night felt peaceful. What Marcus didn't know was that tonight, his life was about to change forever. Marcus Walker was just like any other 23-year-old. He had dreams of one day becoming a graphic designer, a love for late-night walks, and a passion for basketball. Growing up in a predominantly black neighborhood, he'd been taught early on to keep his head down, stay out of trouble, and be aware of how others saw him. The world often saw him as a statistic before they saw him as a person. A young black man walking alone at night, seemingly out of place. But tonight, Marcus wasn't thinking about his surroundings. He wasn't worried about his skin color or how his hoodie might be perceived by someone else. He was lost in the rhythm of his music, each step measured, each beat a temporary escape. He had no idea how that very walk would soon become a life-or-death ordeal. As Marcus passed by the row of neatly trimmed hedges on Oak Street, a screeching police siren split the silence. Flashing blue lights painted the sidewalk in harsh, cold colors. Startled, Marcus pulled his earbuds out, his heart racing. Before he could process what was happening, two officers, a man and a woman, emerged from their patrol car, eyes locked onto him like hawks. "Hey!" the male officer barked, his voice cutting through the night. "Stop right there." Marcus froze, a knot of fear tightening in his chest. His palms grew sweaty as he glanced around, searching for a way out. But there was no escape. "Is there a problem, officer?" Marcus asked, his voice steady but laced with confusion. "We got a call. You fit the description." The woman officer's tone was sharp, almost rehearsed. Marcus's stomach dropped. "Fit the description?" he asked, heart pounding. "What description?" The man didn't answer. Instead, his hand hovered near his holster as he stepped closer, eyes scanning Marcus from head to toe. The woman officer pulled out a notebook, her eyes scanning something Marcus couldn't see. It was like they were looking right through him, their minds already made up. Marcus's breath caught in his throat. He felt it, the all-too-familiar feeling of being judged before his actions were even considered. The sinking sensation of being a suspect for no reason other than his appearance. He was being treated like a criminal, and he hadn't even done anything. A moment of silence passed between them, stretching into what felt like an eternity. The officers exchanged glances, but Marcus couldn't tell if they were uncertain or simply making sure they had their story straight. "What's going on?" he repeated, trying to remain calm, though his mind was racing. "I'm just walking home." "You fit the description of a suspect in a nearby robbery," the woman said, flipping through her notebook. "Tall, but wearing a hoodie." Marcus clenched his fists. He was tall. He was black. And he was wearing a hoodie. But that didn't make him a criminal. He felt the weight of the injustice pressing down on him like a ton of bricks. He could feel the eyes of the neighborhood's silent witnesses behind the drawn curtains, watching this unfold. They had seen it all before, too many times. "Do you think all black men with hoodies are criminals?" Marcus blurted out, the words slipping out before he could stop them. It wasn't a question, it was a statement, a challenge. The woman officer's eyes narrowed. "You don't get to talk back, boy." The sting of her words cut deeper than he expected. "I'm not your boy," Marcus shot back, his voice firm. "I'm just trying to get home." The tension crackled in the air, and for a moment, neither officer moved. They were sizing him up, deciding whether he was a threat or not. This was the moment Marcus realized he wasn't just dealing with a case of mistaken identity. This wasn't just about a robbery in some neighborhood. This was about something much bigger. It was about race. About the deep-rooted biases that shaped how he was seen by the world, regardless of his intentions. The officers might not have been saying it out loud, but Marcus knew exactly what was happening. He was being treated like a criminal not because of any actions he'd taken, but because of how he looked, because of his skin color, his age, and the way he dressed. In their eyes, he didn't deserve the same presumption of innocence as anyone else. He was already guilty. The camera would have panned over Marcus's face at this point, the fear in his eyes, the tightening of his jaw as he tried to stay calm, and the rapid rise and fall of his chest as he realized just how dangerous this moment was. The music swells, dark and suspenseful, as the officers' movements become more deliberate. Every shift in their weight, every glance, every gesture feels like a countdown. A standoff that could turn dangerous in an instant. But Marcus wasn't just going to stand there and let them control him. He wasn't going to let them win. He took a deep breath. "I'm not moving," he said. "And I'm not going anywhere until you explain what's going on." His defiance hung in the air, a quiet yet bold challenge. The officers exchanged a glance, frustration and hesitation flickering behind their stern faces. They were used to intimidating people. But Marcus wasn't afraid. Not anymore. The tension broke when a third officer arrived on the scene, a black man, maybe in his 30s, with a tired look in his eyes. He didn't even glance at Marcus. Instead, he walked straight up to the two officers who were now visibly unsettled. "What's going on here?" the third officer asked. We got a call about a robbery suspect," the woman officer stammered, her confidence slipping. The new officer turned to Marcus, his gaze softening. "You good?" he asked. Marcus nodded slowly. "I'm fine," he said, voice steady. "Just trying to get home." The third officer looked at the two officers who had confronted Marcus. "Let him go. He's not the one." A moment of silence. The officers looked at each other, realizing they were out of their depth. Slowly they stepped back. As they retreated to their car, Marcus took a breath, his body still tense. The street was silent again, the night air a little less cold. But as he started walking home, he knew one thing for sure: tonight wasn't just another walk. It was a reminder that even the smallest of encounters could have life-altering consequences. That even when you did everything right, sometimes the world wasn't ready to see you as human. And that wasn't just his problem. It was all of ours. Marcus's walk didn't just end with him safely getting home. It ended with a realization that every black man who dares to walk in peace faces the same threat: an unjust world that will never see him for who he is, but only for how he looks. He was lucky this time. But how many others would never get that chance?